Have you noticed how many people out there are healing and likely struggling with life?
Whether or not people are actually talking about it, a lot of people are, and you might even be one of them.
If you're living the medical medium lifestyle, you may be doing the foods, the tools, the supplements, and still feel overwhelmed by the life part relationships, motherhood, identity changes, nervous system, purpose, and that quiet fear of, is it just me?
You're not crazy, you're not weak, and you're not alone.
I'm Eileen, an older mom, writer, former architect. And medical medium information saved my life, and my family and I have been living this way since 2012.
And I'm Amy, an autism mum, home educator, formerly worked in advertising, a near death experiencer, and we've lived medical medium since 2015.
Medical medium gives life saving information.
And here we support the life part so you can stay with it, trust yourself again, and come home to who you truly are.
Welcome to Rewild Renew, soulful discussions of life and truth. People think the healing is the finish line, the symptom reduction. But for most of us, healing is also a life rebuild. You keep hearing us say that because it's an important message and because we are launching some very special things for you today. So, Amy, tell us what we're launching.
Yeah. So today we have three mini kits that are going to be live for you to help you through this awkward phase, the messy middle, the bit that we all bump into on a healing journey, because a healing journey is not a straight line. Newsflash. We've been talking about it a lot. But it is confusing. It is confusing because a healing journey, we think it's one thing, we discover it's something else. Healing doesn't just change what you eat and the way you socialize. It has a much bigger impact. It will change you to the very core. It will make you question who you are and why you're here on this earth. It will
And
do
why in the
the
world you're doing what you're doing.
yeah. And this is the thing, and it can feel like you've outgrown your old life
Mm-hmm.
because you have,
Mm-hmm.
and your new life isn't yet fully built, and this
Mm-hmm.
new person that you're becoming isn't yet fully formed,
Mm-hmm.
and that is uncomfortable. But we want to say this really, really clearly. This is the spiritual awakening, because it's not just mystical for mystical's sake. This is the really practical parts of
Mm-hmm.
what a spiritual awakening looks like. People think that spiritual awakenings are fluffy clouds and things like this. They're all theoretical, but
Feel good
actually
moments.
and it's the hard stuff in your
Mm-hmm.
life. I'm gonna say something that me and Eileen talk about, because some years ago, kind of slowed down around Brain Saver,
Mm-hmm.
when Brain Saver book came out from Medical Medium. But people used to say this a lot. People used to say, I wish Medical Medium would talk more about the spiritual stuff.
Yep.
And they would say that to me and Eileen because we do the spiritual stuff, right?
Right.
So we
Mm-hmm.
would we would hear this all the time. And then,
And over and
Brain
over
Saver,
and over again, we would say, it's in there. It's in
it's
there.
there.
It's in there.
It's
But
yeah, and
people
and it
were flipping through the books looking for protocols, looking, which they should, looking for symptom reduction, like that physical stuff. And they were literally kind of missing how deeply spiritual those books are. I was getting the
and
new books and I was getting them on digital, and I was just like, putting in the word soul. Show me everywhere the word soul is in the book, and I would read those parts first. And they're deeply soulful, deeply spiritual
yeah.
books.
Yeah, I would always go to the back of the book first, because that would
Yep,
be where the more soulful. Any new book, that's where you would find me first of all.
yep,
But it was there, but also it's in the foods, it's in the
yes,
protocols, it's
yes.
in the restructuring of your life. That's the spiritual awakening.
Those
It
foods
is.
are
It's you.
literally restructuring spiritually your body.
They have an intelligence, a
Yes.
life-giving intelligence that you
Hmm.
are consuming. And so here you are redefining yourself,
Mm.
having really difficult times with your relationships, and people not understanding you and gaslighting you, or you feeling, you sort of ending up in a place of doubt of, will I ever heal, and feeling like faith is far away from you when arguably it's really close when you're trying faith so hard and you're still putting one foot in front of the other. But you have this is the spiritual stuff. This is the spiritual awakening. So you're going through something very profound, but you just wanted to get rid of your headaches, and you just wanted to have normal thyroid levels, and you just wanted to, like,
Get out of bed
clear
and
up your skin, and
yeah.
yeah, have better energy, and all of these things, which are so important. But
Hmm.
it's what it leads to, and that's where the friction happens in a person's life.
And these, I want to back up just a little bit because we call them mini kits, but what the heck is that?
Yeah,
So I want to say
good point.
they're not courses. They're not a place for you to come and learn some other thing. They're um, they're tools, and you're going to get access to them for 6 months. And I have a family member who had some substance abuse issues, which he's long past, but I've watched him talk to other people and family members, helping them through those harder moments of giving up substances. And I was so highly impressed with what he would say to people. And he would start out by saying, "What's your F it moment? What is happening when you go, F it, I'm just going to have another drink," or whatever it is. And he narrows right in, and I'm like, right, that's the spiritual moment. People think those F it moments are when I'm failing.
Yeah,
They are not. Those F it moments are, that's the spiritual part. That's the winning part. That's when you know where your boundaries are. That's when you know where your edges are. And when you can make it through that moment to the other side, and there's not one, there's lots of them. That's the moment when your soul just like stood up and said no more. And even if you feel like you fail in that moment, that failure tells you something too. And that's the that's the meat of all of this. And that's where these tools step in. That's where these mini kits step in. They're for that moment. I'm going to name them for you because you're going to recognize these moments. Okay.
you name them, Eileen. Go for
One is
it.
called, "Why am I not better yet?" How many of us have had some version of that moment over and over and over again? The other one is called, "My family thinks I'm crazy," right? I guarantee you, if one of you out there has not had that moment where somebody looked at you cross-eyed because of how you're trying to heal, let me know. And the third one is, "I feel like my life is on hold," right? You're still in bed or you still have symptoms and you think that life starts once those symptoms are gone away. Listen, your soul is your life, and your life is right now, no matter where you are. You don't have to put your life on hold. And these are the three, we call them tripwires. These are the three things that bring us, a lot of people, to those effort moments. And these are the tools to help you through them with some peace and some grace and some
Yeah,
compassion.
absolutely. Because so last week's podcast, we off put out a free video for you guys
Yeah.
to watch, that spoke about these three moments, because this is what we see time and time again. We've worked
Yes.
with people on this medical medium healing journey for a long time now, for
Yes.
years, and there are people, every single person we work with is entirely unique, and we can
Hmm.
bring that laser focus to people in a one-on-one. But the thing is, the pattern recognition in our brain says it's this,
Hmm.
it's this thing, it's these are the same sort of tripwires that people just keep finding themselves up against.
Hmm.
And so, and we asked people to let us know what they thought of the video, and so many people were like, I resonate with all three, but
Right.
particularly this one at the moment. And it, and we're not surprised, because the reason why we put them together is because this is what we hear all the time. We're hearing
Yeah.
this all day anyway. um, but these are moments that need support. Okay,
Hmm.
these are moments that require support, because these are make or break moments as
Hmm.
well. And often, um, these are moments where people might then make bad decisions, or feel really, or just spend a lot of mental effort and energy when we're trying to conserve and preserve mental effort
Hmm.
and energy when we're trying to heal. People can get lost in loops and spirals for long periods of time, in 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 falling into these traps and not finding stability. And we're here to tell you that stability is absolutely
Right.
possible. Not all day, every day, but moments of stability, moments of peace. And also, what we spoke about last time also is um, the fact that I'm really sorry. I am really sorry, guys, that you're listening, because my children, I told them to be really quiet. And I have a daughter playing the electric guitar, and I have a son very excitedly talking to his best friend who moved to the UAE, and he's very happy to be talking to him. So I'm really
See,
sorry
I
that
love it when we hear your kids on the podcast because that's so that see life is happening no
life is
matter
happening.
what.
Life doesn't stop. And I just went out there and I was like, just remember, I'm going to be recording. So, anyway, they're all around the house making loads of noise. So there you go. Just
Signs of
roll with
life, I
it.
love it.
We come as a package, me and the kids. Where I am, they're always going to be nearby. Anyways, so I was saying, I can't remember exactly what I was saying, but I was saying that these are the things that we see time and again, and these are the make or break moments, and we don't want to lose ourselves in these places. We often find we've had this, haven't we, Eileen? Like people that we've worked with that have got really stuck, and they have a really brilliant protocol, and they're working with a really brilliant practitioner, or not, they're doing it themselves and they know the information, they're the expert, but they really don't feel like they're in a good space because it's hard. It's
Mhm,
hard. And this is often where we help people. And
mhm.
so this is why we feel this is important to talk about this. This is where we feel support is needed, because that stability is within reach. There is hope.
It
And also,
is.
we want to have a sense of direction of where we're heading rather than always being in that moment of this is hard, this is hard, this is hard.
Mhm.
We want to help you realize there is something that you are striving for and moving towards.
Well, it's in those moments that people do the things. They, the dabbling, which is, oh, please, I'm not, I've doubt, we've all been into all of these stages. I'm not condemning people for dabbling, but, or the Googling, or the panicking, or the allowing somebody else's view to steer you. Or, all, again, everybody's got a different story, but they're all connected to these really normal parts of going through this process. Remember, we're calling this the messy middle because that's what it is. Whether it's for health reasons or for some other reason, if you're making major life changes, guess what? There's a messy middle. There's
Yeah.
there's a part where you can't go back, you don't want to go back, or even if you want to, you realize you now have changed substantially enough that that old way doesn't work for you, and you haven't worked out all the details for the new way yet. Like I used to cook just I grew up in a kitchen where lots of when people were cooking and I learned to cook that way. And a lot of things I cooked, I didn't really have an exact recipe. I would just pull out the ingredients and cook them. And so when I started living this lifestyle, I had to come up with all new recipes. And so in the beginning, it was like, what do I make? I don't know what to eat. Like that's the messy middle. But now I have all of these recipes that I can just pull out the ingredients and make this stuff. And it's healthy and clean and healing and all of that kind of stuff because I've been doing this for so long. But there's messy middle wherever we are. There's still transition
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
There's still new people coming in and out of your life and still new circumstances. And so we're still sort of often having to readjust. That's life.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's an important thing to drive home, actually, Eileen, is that this isn't just the messy middle, isn't just the beginning of a healing journey. The messy middle is 10 years into a healing journey. The messy middle is, you know, because a spiritual awakening isn't just a one and done.
Right.
This is like we're literally receiving information from the heavens and like
Mhm.
translating it into life. That
Mhm.
takes and undoing years of people pleasing and unconscious living and choosing and seeing the world differently and then choosing differently and then accepting our purpose, turning up our psychic powers, people, like hearing,
Right.
getting our intuition and stepping into that and not being afraid of it, and still learning more information as we
Mhm.
go, learning about angels and demons and things like this. It's a lot.
Mhm.
It really is a lot to handle. And we have a lot of experience of talking to people about this very thing. And
Mhm.
as you can tell, I was joking to Eileen before we got on this podcast because I'm doing that really annoying thing that I wish I wouldn't do, but it's talking at double speed, maybe even
No,
triple
I'm
speed.
going to give you
It's,
guys a little tidbit. Sometimes when she leaves me messages, we leave each other voice messages, and sometimes I have to look at my phone to see if I've turned it on to double or triple speed by mistake because she speaks so fast.
because these are my moments of inspiration that I want to share with Eileen, and I'm really
And I'm
excited.
over here kind of mellow yellow.
Yeah, and Eileen's always so chill. And I, before we got onto this to do this podcast, I had to excuse my excited puppy energy because, you know, even though Eileen is the master of chill, um, I we both are very passionate about this. Yeah, she's miming that I am a jabbermouth, but it's true. Ultimately, we always ask that you know yourselves, and this is what I know about myself.
Well, this is just the perfect example of I think it's really easy for all of us to think, oh, it's just me. It's just my family. It's just my situation. And everyone's situation is extremely unique. And that's actually a part of these tools is to, stop the comparing because your story, each story is too unique, except we all are sharing a common experiences of this messy middle part of what happens when you're trying to make major changes in your life and how do you get through those effort moments, those harder moments. So we do all have something in common, even though we're
Yeah,
different. Amy and I are very different people, yet so aligned.
yeah.
It's kind of funny to watch.
How does that work? I
I
know.
know,
Do you know? And then another fun fact is we both turned up to this call with
just alike.
denim shirts with white t-shirts on underneath. We've not done that before. I went and changed and put on this green sweatshirt, but I was like, it's just too much. But yeah, there was another thing I wanted to say. I wanted to talk about how sometimes we have to retune the aerial for people that on the younger side, they might not know what that means. It's a little bit analog
Well, let me
in the
just also
digital world.
interpret that in American, the antenna.
The antenna, yeah, the antenna. Oh my God, I'm being old and British. What a combination. Um, but yeah, like retune the antenna for what
Okay,
healing
sorry.
really
Did
looks
any of
like.
you out there old enough to know what rabbit ears are? Amy, you know what rabbit ears are?
What? Where are you going now?
Okay, on the
What?
top, I'm with you. On top of TV sets, there used to be two
Oh
antennas,
yeah,
and they had the same base, so they looked like rabbit ears, and we called them rabbit ears. And when you were trying to watch a TV show, you'd have to move the rabbit ears around to get the TV show to tune in. I just want to give
yeah.
a real picture here of what you're talking about because it's brilliant.
It's just a metaphor,
Every,
Eileen.
I know, but
All right.
everyone's now like digitally, and they don't remember this experience.
Eileen is now the excited puppy. But
Yes.
no, what I was using the metaphor for, okay, is that we have to retune the area for what healing really looks like. We have
Hmm.
to, and what freedom actually looks like,
Yep.
because it often feels like this far off destination, this far off like moment in the future, and this is something that we spoke a little bit about. We've been speaking about throughout this theme of talking about the awkward middle, but proof that healing is happening is a reduction of symptoms, but it's also holding your ground. It's
Hmm.
also stopping being a people pleaser
Hmm.
and, living consciously and choosing it, even though that is hard. We understand that that is hard. And that's a lot of what these mini kits are
But that's
about.
where that friction is where that spiritual growth comes from.
Yeah. And I just wanted to give you something here that like gratitude is often one of the cleanest windows to retune that area. It's like one of those greatest opportunities to retune that, because when we
Mm.
start to, we're often very attuned to um well, I haven't got this yet and people don't understand me yet, and
Mhm.
there's symptoms still flaring, and everyone else is going off on and doing this and eating that, and I'm not. Like we're very focused on these things because we're leaving an old life behind.
Mhm.
But when we bring ourselves into a space of gratitude, it can help us. It can help us look for those clues and retune that antenna, that
I
aerial.
think this is another thing Amy and I experience a lot, which I think these mini kits, these tools address, which is how many times, Amy, have you talked to somebody and they're giving you an impression that's nothing changed, and you're like, actually, that's not true. Hasn't this changed? Hasn't that changed? Oh yeah. Hasn't this changed? Oh yeah. doesn't this feel different? Oh, yeah, it does. Because we get so focused on one thing or what hasn't changed yet or some big thing that we're forgetting and losing track of actually our successes, what has evolved. And when you do that, um, these are all the moments that to bring the spiritual war into it, that the darkness in the world takes advantage of. These are the
Mhm.
thoughts going through your head that are stealing that from you. They're stealing those wins from you and the empowering energy of those wins that gives you. And that's again another reason why those spiritual moments, that healing really is in those moments where it feels hard and you find some gratitude anyway. You look at the wins anyway.
Yeah, I think we're all guilty of doing that. I'm guilty
Yes.
of doing that. You know, because you should have a level of health that you get to take for granted. Like that,
Hmm.
we should have that. We shouldn't have to constantly be worrying about our health. And I think when we get some more of that back, then we start taking that for granted.
Hmm.
And not that that's wrong, but it's good to remember. But we have a lot of conversations with people who say nothing's working. I've been doing this for years and nothing's working. And I can have a day like that. I can be like, oh, we're right back where we began.
Yes.
And we're
For me,
not.
usually
But
at night when I'm just tired.
yeah, yeah. When I haven't had a good night's sleep, or I need some food and some hydration or something like that. There's real reasons for it, and it's called being a human. Like these things are gonna happen. But what we're focused on is bringing stability to those moments, because those moments can define what comes next. Those moments can define whether we can reach for life or if life feels out of reach. If we feel like we're sitting on the sidelines, or if we are sort of really the main role like we're starring in the show of our own lives. So that's what they're for, because you do get to have stability. You do get to have the things you're aiming for, the freedom, the peace, the joy, the things that you're aiming for. You get to have some of that now, and this is what we hope to be able to. This is what these kits will do, essentially. So like the first one, just to go over them, the first one is really about that doubt, that moment of doubt, for
Mhm.
that moment
Why
where,
am I not better yet? That's the first kit.
why, yeah, or a symptom comes back and you're
Will
like,
I
this
ever
isn't
be better?
working. Yeah,
Hmm.
and like, oh, there's symptoms here and there's symptoms come back and I'm going to go all the way back, and we just start like all those negative thoughts just come right back,
Hmm.
and we can throw the baby out with the bathwater in
And if
that
those
moment.
aren't your words, that's actually, if you didn't sign up for our free tool, go sign up for it now because that tool is what helps you bring to which of these moments am I in now? Which one do I need to really find some support with right now?
Yeah, because the second one is that my family thinks I'm crazy. Do you like the title of that, guys? Do you like that title? It makes us
Or
chuckle.
sometimes it
But
can be like the awkward moment of going, telling a friend you can't go out to a restaurant or going out to a restaurant eating before you go and ordering a
yeah,
water, or tea while your friends are eating. Like these are awkward moments. The first time, the second time, the third time, they begin to get more comfortable when you get more comfortable in your skin, advocating and doing what's right for you. But the the transition part, the middle part is awkward.
yeah, because at the heart of that, it's like feeling judged or
Hmm.
embarrassed or feeling
Hmm.
alone in your choices, feeling misunderstood. It's really not nice to feel misunderstood, and
Mm-mm.
really, like that's a horrible thing. That's a horrible place to be. And this is about helping you hold your ground with love, without over explaining yourself and your choices. And let me take you all the way through the journey, because people don't necessarily want that. Most of the time, they don't.
Yeah.
And the other one was how it feels like your life is on hold.
Hmm.
And our message really here is that you're healing to live,
Hmm.
and that life is now. And
No matter
we
your
understand.
situation.
Yeah, and we understand that when you're healing, it feels like your life and the world has, it can feel unsafe.
Hmm.
It can feel like an unsafe place to be. And sometimes we find ourselves like scanning for danger,
Hmm.
because we've been through a lot. And so it's about helping you come into that, because that's not nice for your adrenals and your nervous system, is it? To always
Mm-mm.
be scanning for danger. Like hypervigilance isn't a great healing state. You're going to heal in that state for sure, but
Mm-hmm.
it's easier if we can kind of find some more peace in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
As I was saying, like, misunderstood is horrible. Like it's a weight upon us that we are carrying along with our symptoms. Like,
Mm-hmm.
these kits are really about finding that ease, that peace, that joy, and that is bringing life back into the picture.
And doing that over and over again because this is life, right?
Yeah.
And right, it's not one aha moment. It's a lot of little moments that add up.
Yeah, that's it. You're not going to have one moment of doubt and then that's it. You're good now for the next 5 years. It's 2026, people. Good
That's
luck.
just not life. That has nothing to do
Yeah.
with healing. That's just not life. I
Yeah.
had somebody message me recently, and I don't remember their exact words, but it was something like, you've been doing this for so long. Do you feel completely healthy now or all healed now? And I was like, I understand the sentiment to that question, but but the answer to that is a little complicated because it depends on who you're asking, what their goal was, what their exposures have been. You know, it's a completely individual answer. And I think what I said back was, um, I we live in this world where we're constantly bombarded with all kinds of things. So it's not just a are you all healthy again? It's not like there's this again, this moment, this finish line. These are real tools for living. And so are these kits. Like we're going to get bombarded by new stuff, and this is where fear can come in. But we are so privileged to have this information to move through all of those things in a different way. And this again is that what actually really winds up being that soulful journey. It's not about some magical finish line. It's about actually having a better way to move through life, because life is like that.
Yeah. And just to throw out some hope here, because I know people are in some really difficult situations. Like
Hmm.
I have, and I'm saying I, but I know it's the same for Eileen. I have and have had clients who are on Mattress Island, have really strong mental health issues going on. Um, and they know themselves and who they are and what they're about and why they're here and what they're doing better than that able-bodied person who's out there running around doing their life. That's it. Doesn't look, this is the retuning the antenna of the
Yeah.
arrow, like
What does
it
all
doesn't
healed
look
really
like,
mean?
yeah, it doesn't look like
Hmm.
they're completely healed, but their soul, their sense of themselves,
Hmm.
their ability to have peace,
Hmm.
their strength is unmatchable. So,
Hmm.
it's accessible.
And
It's accessible.
inspiring and incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've tried to distill as much of ourselves and the information and the experience into these mini kits. And we would love for you to grab onto them. What we've
Hmm.
done is we've tried to make them super, super cheap, haven't we, Eileen? So that but there's no barriers to sort of
Yep.
to
We want
accessing
them,
them.
everybody to be able to take advantage of them.
Yeah, because we understand not everyone wants to put, or can, have a one-to-one session, which is what the mini kits do. So they're $27 each, and we've done a bit of a no-brainer and put, well, you can get all three of them for $54, which is
The price
basically
of
the
two.
cost of two of them. Yeah, because so many people emailed us back and said, I resonate with all three.
Right.
So all three tripwires. So we thought, fine, let's get these in people's hands and give people a chance to kind of have that stability, because we're all in this together, aren't we? We all, everyone who is here healing is healing because they're this special soul. They are this purposeful soul, and it benefits everyone when we get better and we do the thing we're supposed to do, when we get more connected to our intuition and our strength and our soul, and we have that sort of wisdom. When we are all in that space, it benefits all of us. And as I said, it's 2026, people. Like, we need to sort of wake up and shake up a bit, don't we? So we are very much, we are all in this journey together, and we would love to see people get the support they need for whatever phase of healing that feels difficult at the moment.
Yes, and I would say add one more thing to that, Amy, what you just were talking about is I've been this long enough that I've watched people move from medical medium to something else, to something else, to something
Oh,
else, back to medical medium, to something else, because,
yeah,
and I go, oh, they're still searching. They're
yeah,
still actually soulfully searching for that answer, thinking that answer is out there somewhere with some other protocol or some other system or some other guru or some other whatever. It's in here. You've got it. You've got it. And these kits, these tools are to help you come to that moment over and over and over. Remember yourself. Remember the power is within you and to help you through those harder moments
yeah.
because
And
that's what it's really about.
yeah, and I just want to state I love a good dabbler. Like this isn't
Yeah.
for the people that are in the perfect world, as Eileen's saying, that we
Yeah.
might go from this to that to that. I love the dabblers very much so. I've been speaking to a few people that have been in dabbling land, and there's real wisdom in that, I think, because something in them recognizes, wait a minute, this is going to tip my life upside down. This is
Yes.
a spiritual awakening.
I'm not
I don't
quite
know if I'm
ready.
quite ready. Not quite ready. I'm going to sit here till I
There
really
is
got to. I've
intelligence
got
in
to
that.
jump in. There is. So I love those dabblers out there. I love people that are just showing up in
Hmm.
whatever way. As I'm saying, but I know this is both of us.
Hmm.
It's for everyone. It's not for those chasing perfection. And if you are chasing perfection, there's something in here for you as well.
Yes.
Definitely, it's for all of those because we have seen all those phases. We
Yes.
have, and we've seen them over and over again.
Yeah. All right, everyone. You can find links to these and to our free, if you want to start with our free resource to help you get a little bit more focused. You can find links on our social media in our bios. We will be sending out information in our newsletter. You can get connected to our newsletter in our bios. You will be able to connect to it through social media. If you're on YouTube watching this, look below. All the links are right there. Because we want you to have access to this. We want you, and in fact, you know, even if you're working with another practitioner, we speak to a lot of practitioners and they
Yeah,
say, I wish we had a tool to help people through the emotional stuff because the practitioners are helping you with the protocols and which supplements to take. They want their clients to have that more emotional support, which they can't always give as much
that
as
was
the
the
client
starting
needs.
point.
Yeah.
That was the starting point for these kits actually, is that
Yeah.
we wanted a bolt on, because if you're working with a practitioner, it's
Mm,
unrealistic to say, oh, and now I'll go and work with someone on the emotional and the soulful. Like, no, we can't always do that. Like, we
mm,
need something that we can just that's inexpensive, that's
mm-hmm.
accessible, that's going to talk to those moments of, oh, I'm tearing my hair out. This is like, I don't know, I keep bumping up against this. Or we try to just gather those and
Yep.
put them together in the kits. So, I'd forgotten that that was our starting point because we've been so immersed in the journey, Eileen.
Yes, it was. From practitioners, please create something I can hand over to my clients to help them through those tougher moments. So,
Yeah.
all right, everyone, I'm going to take a big breath and I'm going to say, just remember how powerful your soul is and don't give that power away to anyone today. We started Rewild Renew as a way to coach and empower others to heal and connect with their souls. The views and opinions you will hear on the Rewild Renew podcast are ours and are not meant to be medical advice. Please seek professional assistance if you feel you need it.